That day will always remain vivid in my memory. For many years, I have reflected on it, thought about her, and longed for explanations. I don't believe I will find any. I'm certain of that. Occasionally, I return to New York to see my father or my friends, and I think about revisiting that place, but I lack the bravery to follow through. Instead, I drive by in a car and gaze out the window as if I've encountered a specter, because I have. Allow me to take you on this journey with me and begin from the start. October 1993, Baldwin, Long Island, New York. I was not very well liked and was just beginning to discover myself while forming a group of friends during my junior year of high school. As a timid individual experiencing anxiety, I also possessed strong ethical principles and a sense of integrity. Caring for others and offering assistance whenever possible was important to me, as it significantly contributed to how everything unfolded. My friend, whom I will refer to as Valerie, struggled with self-esteem challenges like many of us misfit toys, but she genuinely had a good heart and lacked any cruelty. Defending herself was difficult, and her petite stature only added to the intimidation she faced from others. She sought to find romance beyond our school environment, looking for someone detached from our social group, a person with whom she could genuinely express herself. During this time, the internet had not yet emerged as a common tool. Cell phones were rare and typically only owned by physicians or drug dealers. We relied on pagers for important messages, alerting us to calls which then required us to rush to the nearest payphone to discuss whatever was pressing. This context is also crucial to the narrative. At that time, I had another friend named Debbie, with whom I remain close even now. It was autumn, and the chill in the air accompanied the spectral gusts sweeping the golden foliage from the roadside trees. This is my favorite season, and I cherished being outdoors, listening to the wind, which felt like the whispers of spirits beckoning me. However, it was not a ghost summoning me that evening. It was Debbie. Because I was outside, deeply engrossed in thought, and enjoying the ambiance, I didn't hear the phone ring. While composing lyrics for what would become my next rock song, my mother's voice broke through as she opened the screen door with a creak. "What are you doing out here? You don't have a jacket on. You'll catch a cold. Come inside, okay?" "I'm fine, Mom," I replied. "Well, you still need to come inside. Debbie is calling." Oh, well, that became a unique matter. If a chum became calling me at night, they possibly wanted me, and I by no means desired to allow absolutely each person down. When Debbie had hassle with a bully, I took him on. I have been the quiet youngster earlier than that, and I became even diagnosed with inside the yearbook for it. However, there has been no warding off anyone after that. I had gotten suspended for inciting a riot, and those modified the phrases on my Ned's atomic dustbin blouse to say, "Kill your bullies," rather of "kill your television." It wasn't very creative, and no bullies died, thankfully. However, one did trap a walloping. Debbie and I have been buddies already. However, we might be lifelong buddies after that. I were given up and moved quickly into the house. My mother pointed to the Telecel smartphone at the table, a mustard yellow coiled wire draping from the wall into the seat nearby. She went to renew her seat at the sofa in the front of the TV. My mom had her scheduled programming mapped out and a planner with what suggests got here on what nights, at what instances, and which of them have been extra crucial to watch. And whilst she couldn't decide, she had a VCR that my brother needed to software for her to report her suggests due to the fact she couldn't determine it out. To be fair, I didn't recognize the primary issue, approximately it. Out of doors of play, report, stop, and rewind. She took up her vigil in the front of the TV, White Russian in hand, and I went into the kitchen to reply the telecell smartphone. "Hey," I stated, sitting on the table. "It's Valerie," Debbie stated, sounding panicked. Immediately, I deserted my seat and walked across the nook towards the lower back door, stretching that telecell smartphone wire till there wasn't an unmarried coil left in it. "What do you mean? What's wrong?" I requested, her fear contagious. Valerie met this man. He's a university man and creepy, and he desired so far her, and she or he became so satisfied to have the eye that she stated yes. "All right," I stated. "Don't panic yet. Maybe he's a terrific man." "I swear I ought to listen." Her shake her head. "He's now no longer. He offers me the creeps, and Chisto, he isn't coming to choose her up. He requested her to satisfy him on the Essential College on Morn Avenue." "Okay, that's a bit weird," I admitted. "Why might a university man with an automobile need the excessive college lady to satisfy him at a darkish college after hours?" "Exactly," she exclaimed, her worry palpable. "It's now no longer secure available without a creepy university man. By no means thoughts with him. We ought to do something." I nodded my settlement, after which found out she couldn't see it. Life is a lot less complicated now with video chatting. "Yeah, no. Yeah, I agree," I stated. "Can you get out? I'll get my bat and head over there. It's quite near my residence and I can get there rapid. If she's in danger, I'll maintain her safe. I promise." "Yeah, I'll meet you there. See you in some," she stated, straight away placing up. I walked, returned to the bottom at the wall, and hung my telecell smartphone up as well. I went across the nook into my room and seized my Louisville Slugger. Then I checked on my mom, who become targeted at the TV. "I'm strolling out to assist Debbie with something, Ma. I'll be returned in some minutes, promise." "Take your jacket so that you don't turn out to be with pneumonia," she stated, without turning to study me. "Someone on TV become telling a crook to stop, or they could shoot." I grabbed my jacket off the return of a chair on the eating room desk and raced out the door. The faculty wasn't a long way from my residence. However, I become nevertheless frightened due to the fact Valerie's residence become even in the direction of it, and I didn't recognize, whilst she left to satisfy this man, or what he or his vehicle seemed like. It didn't take a grown guy lengthy to harm a girl. I walked as rapid as I could, and the wind swirled round me, a door it become bodily following me. Leaves swirled round me like I become a mini cyclone, ripping them from the floor as I moved quickly by. It didn't take me lengthy to get to the faculty. I'd most effective visible it at some point of the day, and I by no means went there, as I most effective moved to First Earl Baldwin of Bewdley for excessive faculty, so I had no fond early life recollections connecting me to the place. Seeing it now, with inside the pitch black night, it seemed significantly ominous. The home windows had been protected in production paper, which most effective served to make it darker. I swallowed a lump in my throat and slowed my pace, strolling slowly in the direction of the front of the faculty. There become a creek at the back of it, protected in tall reeds, so it become obscured from view. However, the water delivered an excellent, more potent breeze, The reeds swayed from side to side like jaundiced skeletons, waving at me mockingly. "Hey!" Debbie called, making me bounce out of my skin. With a hand on my heart, I became to study her. She grinned and stated, "Sorry, eye concept, you noticed me." "I can't see anything," I stated. "I can't consider how darkish it is." "Right? It's creepy out here. However, that become precisely my point. Why inside the hell could this man Carey need to satisfy Valerie here of all places?" I paid a look in the direction of the creepy faculty and nodded. "Yeah, no, you're right. It's absolutely shady. Have you visible her at all? Or spoken to her?" "Yeah, no. Yeah, I agree," I stated. "Can you get out?" "I'll get my bat and head over there. It's quite near my residence, and I can get there rapid. If she's in danger, I'll maintain her safe. I promise." "Yeah, I'll meet you there. See you in some," she stated straight away, placing up. I returned to the bottom at the wall and hung my Telecell smartphone up as well. I went across the nook into my room and seized my Louisville Slugger. Then I checked on my mom, who become targeted at the TV. "I'm strolling out to assist Debbie with something, Ma. I'll be returned in some minutes, promise." "Take your jacket so that you don't turn out to be with pneumonia," she stated, without turning to study me. "Someone on TV become telling a crook to stop, or they could shoot." I grabbed my jacket off the return of a chair on the eating room desk and raced out the door. The faculty wasn't a long way from my residence. However, I become nevertheless frightened, due to the fact Valerie's residence become even in the direction of it, and I didn't recognize while she left to satisfy this man or what he or his vehicle seemed like. It didn't take a grown guy lengthy to harm a girl. I walked as rapid as I could, and the wind swirled round me, a door it become bodily following me. Leaves swirled round me like I become a mini cyclone, ripping them from the floor as I moved quickly by. But first, did you know that 98% of people who watch my videos aren't subscribed? That means you. And yes, I am speaking specifically to you. Probably aren't. So now would be a great time to leave a like on the video and subscribe. Anyhow, it didn't take me lengthy to get to the faculty. I'd most effective visible it at some point of the day, and I by no means went there, as I most effective moved to First Earl Baldwin of Bewdley for excessive faculty. So I had no fond early life recollections connecting me to the place. Seeing it now, with inside the pitch black night, it seemed significantly ominous. The home windows had been protected in production paper, which most effective served to make it darker. I swallowed a lump in my throat and slowed my pace, strolling slowly in the direction of the front of the faculty. There become a creek at the back of it, protected in tall reeds, so it become obscured from view. However, the water delivered an excellent, more potent breeze. The reeds swayed from side to side like jaundiced skeletons, waving at me mockingly. "Hey!" Debbie called, making me bounce out of my skin. With a hand on my heart, I became to study her. She grinned and stated, "Sorry, I concept you noticed me." "I can't see anything," I stated. "I can't consider how darkish it is." "Right? It's creepy out here. However, that become precisely my point. Why inside the hell could this man Carey need to satisfy Valerie here, of all places?" I paid a look in the direction of the creepy faculty and nodded. "Yeah, no, you're right. It's absolutely shady. Have you visible her at all? Or spoken to her?" I didn't see Valerie, or anyone for that matter. All I saw were leaves dancing on the wind while the reeds laughed at me for being frightened. I flipped up my middle finger at them. "I really hope you're not in there," I thought. Please don't be in there. My gut told me to check, but I didn't want to. I'd heard talk of alligators being in there and the creek leading to the sewers. I'd watched way too many horror movies to go pushing my way through there, where no one would see me get dragged off and eaten or butchered. Hell no. Nope. Sorry, not me. Not tonight. If we couldn't find Valerie anywhere else, then Debbie and I could go inspect the reeds together, loudly, and in that case, I would be glad to scare off anything or anyone in hiding. Shoo! Get out of here! You can't eat us! We're just kids. The crow flew past me in a wild flurry of wings, and I hadn't seen it coming, so I yelped, immediately covering my mouth in embarrassment. It landed on the school roof and looked at me. I glared back at the creature and said quietly but forcefully, "Not cool, bro. Not cool." My hands gripped the handle of the baseball bat more tightly. The shadows started playing tricks on me. I kept thinking I saw Valerie, or someone lying in the grass, or leaning against the brick siding of the building. When I got closer, bat raised high and ready to strike, I always found nothing. The reeds continued to whistle and whisper, and I wanted nothing more than to just find Valerie and go home. I wanted to get away from that place, not just for this moment, but forever. I decided right then and there that I hated that school, and I was glad I never attended it. What would they have, that creek, and those big, tall, scary reeds behind an elementary school anyway? It didn't make a lick of sense to me. There's no way it wasn't a safety hazard. If a little kid wandered away from their class and went in there, no one would see them. Even if they didn't get snatched, like my mind immediately went to, they could have just as easily fallen into the creek and gotten swept away in the current, slapping them against filthy, mossy rocks and dragging them down into the sewers or wherever that thing led to. It was definitely a terrible design, I decided. If I still lived there when I grew up, I declared to myself that I would never send my kids there. I don't live there anymore. I moved away long before I had any kids, so that prophecy came true, I suppose. I felt my skin crawling, as if ants were running all over it. If Valerie had left before we did to go there, we should have at least seen her walking up like we saw each other. She should have been there somewhere. Then I got a terrible thought. What if he did meet her there with his car? What if he saw us or someone else and decided to drive away with her and take her to a different but equally terrifying part of town? I had to find Debbie. We had to page Valerie and see if she called back. If we could get a hold of her, that was a good sign. Surely, if she had been abducted by some evil guy, he wouldn't let her go to a payphone and call her friends back. Or, even if she managed to sneak away to call us, and he found her and got angry, she could tell us where she was, and we could run there. All the worst thoughts ran through my mind of places he could have taken her and parked the car for absolute privacy, and the terrible things he could be doing to her on this dark autumn night. I said a quiet prayer to God as I looped around and approached the bench from the other side. Debbie was already there, sitting on it and twirling her baseball bat before her while she waited for me. "Nothing?" I asked as I walked up, hugging myself more against the fear than the cold. She shook her big poof of hair. "Nope, not a thing. Maybe she changed her mind and decided not to come. Or maybe he chose this place because no one would see, and when she did come, he stuffed her in the car and took her to a different creepy spot where he could have his way with her or kill her, or God knows what else, I said in a panic. Shoot, you're right, Debbie said with a frown. They could be anywhere. Do you know her number by heart? I asked. Of course, she said with a psh sound. That's my homegirl. She's been part of my posse since grade school. Can you find a payphone and call her? We need to know, and we can't know for sure without trying to get a hold of her. Word. I'll go page her and see if she calls me back. Stay here in case she shows up or we missed her and she's here somewhere and cries for help. I nodded. You got it. Try to be quick though, okay? This place gives me the creeps. She nodded and turned without a word to run up Morn Avenue. A moment later, I was staring at the dark school, and something tapped me on the shoulder. I jumped and heard laughter. When I looked, Debbie was beside me. Sorry, dude, I need a quarter. Cursing under my breath, I dug in my pocket until I fished out several quarters. I always kept some on me, just in case. My mother had anxiety, so I was always raised to plan ahead and be ready for anything. I slapped the quarters into Debbie's hand, and she ran off again. This time, I watched her until I couldn't see her anymore. I didn't want her or anyone else sneaking up on me. I wriggled like a snake shedding its skin, uncomfortable and scared. When I knew she was gone, and would be for a few minutes, as she tried to get a hold of Valerie, I turned back toward the school. The fact that I was alone out there hit me like a slap in the face. Bravado only goes so far. I clutched tightly to the baseball bat and stared past the school at the reeds. They seemed to stare back. I tried to will Debbie to hurry. The reeds waved in the breeze and whispered their strange words, calling me over to them. We never did check, I thought with a frown. I should at least look, right? What if she's hurt in there somewhere and needs help? Reluctantly, I started toward the creek at the back of the school. The wind increased, howling like a wolf at the moon. Leaves lifted from everywhere and slapped against me. Now that I think back on it, I wonder if they were trying to stop me, to warn me away. If they were, I didn't listen. Come, said the reeds. Come to us. Come see what we have to show you. Come look. Come. My instincts told me to cut and run. Debbie would find Val, and everything would be okay. Just get the hell out of there. But my body didn't listen. I kept approaching those reeds with slow, deliberate steps. Caw! Caw! Shouted the crow. Come, whispered the reeds. Look. The breeze whistled and moaned like a woman in agony. I walked forward until I couldn't anymore. My legs stopped moving. I tried to force them, but they wouldn't budge. It was like two strong hands had broken the earth and reached up from underneath to seize my ankles and hold me in place. What's happening? I whispered. I was staring at the blowing reeds when they grew impossibly still. The whispers fell into silence, thick, tangible silence. Before my eyes, the reeds parted like the curtains at a stage show, moving to open the scene. I no longer wanted to see what was behind them, and I tried to turn my head to look away, and I couldn't move my head any more than I could my legs. Phantom hands grasped my jaw and held it, forcing my face forward. I couldn't fight against it, no matter how hard I tried, and God, did I try. Tears rolled from the corners of my eyes. There was a man standing before me, unmasked by the reeds that moved aside. He was menacing, to say the least, and held a limp girl in his arms, draped over backward, like they were in a dance competition. I had never been so afraid in my life, for one particular reason. I have aphantasia. I didn't know what it was called back then, or that it even had a name. But it means I can't visualize things. I can't imagine things in pictures. I can't daydream in images. My dreams at night are as black as this fateful autumn evening. I couldn't even close my eyes and picture the face of my own mother, or someone I saw every day. So, seeing those humans at the back of the reeds proper, at that second suppose, both they have been actual, and it turned into presently happening. Or, I didn't need to consider the or. He had a weathered gray Stetson, casting a shadow over his eyes, a button-down shirt, and a bolo tie. His sleeves have been rolled up, and a thick, extensive scar reduced via the Celtic Pass tattoo on his tanned forearm. His fist held the skinny cloth of the younger woman's infant doll, get dressed, fluffy, and red. His different hand held a bottle of Jack Daniel's whiskey that he sipped from. It turned into nearly empty, and only a small bit sloshed at the lowest, while he took it far, far from his mouth. There have been darkish stains at the glass. Was it blood? The lady's face turned into already bruised and swollen. Her fingers clawed at his chest weakly, like her coronary heart desired to fight. However, her frame didn't have the power left to comply. I knew I needed to assist her. I had to assist her, but I couldn't. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. All I should do turned into watch, and my coronary heart broke in my chest. Then, the person's head grew to become. It turned into unnatural, like he turned into a marionette whose string were tugged. I could have gasped if I should have. Her head grew to become too, her piercing blue eyes stabbing me like knives. Her mouth fell open, and she or he croaked out a plea for assist. However, it turned into unintelligible. It turned into the weird whispering of the reeds. Then the person lifted the thick glass bottle and began out to bash the lady with inside the face. I turned into determined to move, to no less than appearance away, and now no longer watch this terrible brutality. However, I wasn't given a choice. When at closing he dropped her in a crumpled, damaged heap, her red get-dressed, stained red, the reeds closed as soon as more, and the horror film ended. The wind resumed, and a leaf slapped me in my tear-moist cheek. I peeled it away and threw it to the floor, my coronary heart racing. I waited for something else. However, there has been nothing. I observed the bat I turned into, wearing turned into at the floor in the front of me, mendacity with inside the grass. I shivered and found out I wasn't carrying my coat anymore. "Hey," Debbie stated, and I screamed. "Whoa, you okay? Why aren't you carrying your coat? It's freezing." I don't know," I stated honestly, bending to choose it up. "Sorry it took so long. However, the handiest payphone turned into at Buttafuoco's shop, and I needed a web page her and anticipate her to name back. But the coolest information is, she's okay. She made it midway right here, and we're given scared, so she grew to become back. She's home. I wager he found out she wasn't coming, due to the fact he have to have left too." "Yeah, that's good," I stated, shrugging my coat on. My eyes saved transferring to the reeds, though. I couldn't assist it. I walked over to them, now that my legs had been inclined to allow me, and Debbie walked with me. "Yeah," she stated as we reached them. "That's why I become so scared. A female become killed at the back of those reeds, final year. She met a man at a bar with a faux ID, and he ended up beating her to demise with a liquor bottle. Scary stuff, man. I heard he'd become by no means caught." My head whipped round tough, sufficient to provide me whiplash. I stared at her. Are you severe proper now? Yeah, that's why I become freaking out. I idea you knew. Everyone knew. I didn't know. What's occurring with you? You seem like you've visible a ghost. I regarded far, far from her and pulled the reeds open just like the curtains they confirmed me they had been. Behind them become grass, suffering from bottles, cans, empty chip bags, and condom wrappers. Beyond that become the creek, flowing through peacefully. I regarded lower back at Debbie as I allow the reeds fall closed, and I stated, I assume perhaps I did. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more amazing video. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any updates. All right, that's it for today. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.